The most precious gift from heavens, water. Once abundant, but now the world is running out of it. A grave crisis that sits at the top of the geopolitical agenda. In my country, Belgium, a spot in Europe which is slightly bigger than the city of Delhi, water just flows out of our tap, and if water is cut for even a few hours, it is a major item in the news. But what about India? As a journalist, I wanted to find out how Indians, being 108 times more numerous than the Belgians, cope with water shortages. I started doing my research on water shortages. I found out that even green states like Kerala and Karnataka are now facing severe water problems. I wondered how the new generation in these areas would cope with what they had never seen before, an acute water scarcity.
ನೀರು ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗೋದು ಅಥವಾ ಬತ್ತಿ ಹೋಗೋದಿದೆಯಾ? ಭೂಮಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ನೀರು ಇಂಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ವೆರಿ ಗುಡ್. ಯಾಕೆ ಭೂಮಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ನೀರು ಇಂಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ?
Reading about these southern states, one name kept popping up, Rain Man. Water journalist and activist Sri Padre, who calls himself farmer by profession and journalist by obsession. Sri is constantly working to diffuse ideas on water conservation, especially to those who will take charge of tomorrow's world. Here at the village primary school, Sri is coaching the children in a subject that may not be in their course books, but one that most intimately impacts their lives.
ಕಾಡೆ ನದಿಗಳ ತಾಯಿ. ಇಂಗ್ಲಿಷ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಫಾರೆಸ್ಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಮದರ್ ಆಫ್ ರಿವರ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ.
Their curious minds soak up new information like parched soil, growing as they are, in a world that is sure to face water and food hardship. Learning to take care of Earth may be a timely lesson. Sri taught the children about a traditional conservation method called katas, which are a series of small check dams made with local material through the length of the river. Sri playfully makes the children work together to collect small stones and pebbles to erect a small kata, introducing the children to the effectiveness of this traditional method. In one go, he manages to demonstrate that katas are scientifically sound and that their success depends on the community teamwork.
ತೋಟಗಳಿಗೆ ನೀರು ಸಿಗ್ತದೆ. ಎತ್ತರದ ಗುಡ್ಡೆಯಲ್ಲಿರುವ ಬಾವಿಗಳಿಗೆ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಕಾಲ ನೀರು ಸಿಗ್ತದೆ. ಈ ನೀರು ಇಲ್ಲದೆ ಹೋದ್ರೆ ಹಲೋ ಟೂನ್ ನೋಡಿ, ನಮಗೊಬ್ರು ಅತಿಥಿ ಬಂದಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಬೆಲ್ಜಿಯಂ ದೇಶದ ತರುಣರವರು, ಪತ್ರಕರ್ತರು. ಈ ಕಟ್ಟಡಗಳ ವಿಷಯ ಕಲೀಲಿಕ್ಕಾಗಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಅವರಿಗೆ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ ಮಾಡಿ.
The children's workshop is over and mine begins.
Katta has a lot of social justice. It helps all the people around. Wherever in villages they construct a series of kattas, the water current will be there for a prolonged period. Supposing this year the water current dries in April, if you construct a series of check dams, it will extend up to May. If the water table comes up here, the well water rises. So these are beautiful traditional system. Second thing, the only locally available materials and local wisdom.
I set off to Yetaka to meet a man playfully known as Chandrasekhar Kata because of his obsession with check dams. Chandrasekhar is a remarkably learned farmer who feels the pulse of the earth and believes in employing methods that restock the earth's bounty. Shekhar has done extensive research on katas, profiling different materials and methods suited to different soils and river topography.
See, we have got a river where this kata comes at the top. This is the beginning of
Over the years, he has collected vast photographic material on different types of katas made by local people with mud, pebbles, rocks. Anything that can be made into a flexible, temporary structure that can slow the water and force it to stay longer on the riverbed during the dry months.
Want that type of
Over glasses of fresh milk, I get to understand the miraculous healing power of these simple structures. Shekhar is convinced that katas can be a key drought-proofing method in large parts of southern India, especially for farmers living near rivers.
Old type of kata. This is one variety of kata. There are so many varieties of katas.
Shekhar and his neighbor are on the verge of completing another kata near their home, and I am lucky that I will be able to witness the process. Key element of kata is to hold the running water of the river in small reservoirs by making bunds and preventing it from rushing into the sea. This recharges the soil, raises the underground water table and increases the fertility of the subsoil. For building katas, villagers work together to create a chain of check dams, each one holding the river's water into a shallow pond, which help the water to permeate down slowly. Shekhar guides the workers as they make a temporary dam with rounded pebbles and clay. Erected when the flow is sluggish and water is scarce, and removed when the river goes into monsoon or flood mode. Unlike hard permanent concrete dams, kata is a soft seasonal structure that changes size and shape according to the changing contours of the river and climate. These soft dams are created when the farmers need to trap water and removed during heavy monsoons when the farmers need to flush out water to the sea.
There are two advantages. One, it stores. Second, it replenishes the groundwater. That means it does the function of recharge also.
The sticky clayey soil of the Deccan is best suited to making katas. Success of each kata depends on the strength that it gets from the adjoining dam. It is for this reason that Chandrasekhar and his colleagues are actively campaigning for the whole community to get involved in achieving common goals. Once the entire river is tied in a series of dams and reservoirs, there is an immediate impact on the vegetation and fauna. Kata partnerships span economic divide, where even the poor farmers become active partners by giving labor at reduced rates and becoming rightful owners of the collective benefits.
Farmers join together, they have to share the cost, and that means a little bit of management and caring for each other. This social fabric slowly came down when independent water arrangements like pump sets and borewells came. People thought that will give them more freedom and individual decision. Second thing, the skilled laborers are turning scarce and scarce. So that's why most of the villages now don't construct katas.
The cost of constructing a kata today is about 8,000 to 10,000 rupees. And every year it becomes more expensive. But still, compared to other methods, it is a worthy investment because katas is a simple innovation with complex and diverse returns. Being himself an arecanut farmer, Shekhar knows the heavy price that farmers have paid for the widespread use of electric pumps and shifting crop patterns from rice to water-thirsty crops like arecanut. These gave better earnings initially, but later dried vast stretches of land which cannot grow food crops anymore. The shallow ponds made by kata revitalize millions of small springs in the soil and push the water table up, not only along the riverbed, but also in the surrounding hill areas, and give fish farming opportunity to the farmer's family, thus providing food security for the poor. As I traveled across the state, I saw many different innovations done in kata making. Some were made with mud, rocks, some even with polybags. All of them increased moisture, made the vegetation more dense, and had a dramatic impact on fauna in terms of increase in fish, bird life and so on. Shri Padre puts a simple spin to it.
Even in low rainfall areas, wherever there is a seasonal stream running, you can have small check dams if not big ones, and will get much more benefits out of it. The soil moisture increases, the water availability increases. So I think the basic principle is definitely you can scale it up, you can replicate it.
Across the state, I spotted many cemented dams made by government. These are designed by external experts and far more expensive than local katas. Farmers say that many of these began to leak after facing the force of a few heavy monsoons, and then they become more of a liability than an advantage. Katas rarely leak, mainly because they are made by people who intimately know the contours of their land. Katas are also better maintained as they are made every summer and removed before monsoon. With so many special benefits, I wondered how these communities could forget their traditional water conservation methods. People like Shekhar are now actively campaigning to revive gutters among the rich farmers who use electric pumps and borewells on a large scale.
Instead of allowing the rain to go away according to its will and wish, you are asking the rain, bhai, just stop here, fill up my requirements and then go. Finish. Just a delaying process, catching rain and either storing it in some utensil of your own or utensil. We have the biggest utensil, that is called your mother earth, your land. So, you hold it there, you delay it till end summer, finished.
I was excited by the thought that if gutters could be popularized again throughout South India, it could start a huge revolution that could save millions of rupees spent on electricity and fuel bills and revive community bonds. It could feed huge number of people and save them from food scarcity. The Malabar region was once so fertile that if you threw a bunch of seeds on the ground, they would all grow into trees. This could be true again. Of course, these are not easy decisions. To make people change their working pattern, you need to make them aware. And this is where people like Sri Padre play a crucial role. With his talent and knowledge, Sri could have been a top-class journalist anywhere in the world. But he decided to live in a tiny village, giving a platform to the local farmer's voice. Sri records their interviews on his tape recorder and then publishes it in his newspaper with the farmer's byline, making it a unique initiative by the farmers for the farmers.
I never spoon feed people. I keep a bunch of options in front of them. So, they have to think, because since it is site specific, they have to think and select a methodology. When they do so, after raking up their minds, they own up the ideas and they have attachment to their work. They own up and really the credit should go to them.
The tremendous following that Shri's paper enjoys makes it a great vehicle for popularizing water conservation and agro-revival techniques. I often saw Shri working late into the night, tabulating traditional methods of water conservation, especially those that do not require motorized methods of sucking out water from the earth. One of his favorite is surangas.
Surangas are man-made caves for water. It's very affordable. You actually cut across a hillock with a small gradient and the fresh water starts oozing out. It's affordable for common man also. In this district of Kasaragod, an estimated 6,000 surangas should be there. This is very much like the canards of Afghanistan.
Man-made caves dug into the hard laterite rock to use hidden veins of water. I was really fascinated. Surangas are most effective in hilly terrain, where all the rain runs off the slope, leaving the top dry. Farmers who own these plots of undulating land had poor cropping due to less water. But over here, traditional farmers like Manimal Bhatt flourished with the help of surangas.
Goindana? Goindana? Yuru, Toon anta Belgium inda bandidare. He wants to know about your surangas. He is Mr. Govinda Bhatt, Manimole.
Good morning.
Nice to meet you, Mr. Govinda.
Appa.
This is your father?
Yes, father. We conducted a puja. This is Tirtham.
What is this exactly?
This is Tirtham.
A warm welcome and a sacred blessing for a guest are a specialty in South India. Thank you. I am amazed that this seemingly frail man could dig out more than 20 surangas in these rocky hills.
You can understand the questions, you can talk in Kannada.
So how many surangas do you have? ನಮ್ಮ ಲ್ಯಾಂಡಲ್ಲಿ 15 ಸುರಂಗಾಸ್ ಇದೆ.
And they're all situated in the same place. Can you maybe
ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಕಡೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ?
ಹೌದು. ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಈಗ ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಕಡೆ ಅಂದರೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಟೋಟಲ್ ಏರಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಅಲ್ಲಲ್ಲಿದೆ. ಎಲ್ಲಿ ನಮಗೆ ಅವಶ್ಯಕತೆ ಇದೆಯೋ.
It is decentralized, not in a single area. It is in various places. Wherever the water requirement is there for garden.
Digging a suranga is a bit like searching for gold. Since the live flame can burn up the little oxygen present in the cave, the hidden treasure has to be searched inside the dark cave with little light coming through mirrors. Where to dig and what depth and direction to take are a mixture of luck and intelligent guesswork, sometimes called divining. Little by little, the water oozes out from its natural veins and is diverted through pipes to a small reservoir at a lower level. This is when one can truly witness the magic of surangas. There is no need for electric pump or booster, because the water comes naturally by the force of gravity. And when not needed, one has to simply tilt up the pipe. Though the surangas are simply a way to tap water, their reservoirs are excellent points for recharging the underground water table and reviving soil moisture. Today, this father and son team have 15 surangas, each with a separate storage tank from where water goes to the fields by gravity.
ನಾವು ಎಲ್ಲಿ ನಮಗೆ ನೀರು ಕೆಳಗಡೆ ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಆದರೆ ನಾವು ಮೇಲ್ಗಡೆ ಸುರಂಗ ತೆಗಿತಾರೆ, ಬರೀ ಗ್ರಾವಿಟಿಯಿಂದ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಯಾಕಂದರೆ ಇದು ಈಗ ಇಲ್ಲಿಗಿಂತ 40 ಫೀಟ್ ಕೆಳಗಡೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಇದು ನಡೀತಾ ಇದೆ, ಯಾವುದು ಕೃಷಿ ನಡೀತಾ ಇದೆ. ಆಟೋಮೆಟಿಕಲಿ ನಿಮಗೆ ಪಂಪಿನ ಅವಶ್ಯಕತೆ ಇಲ್ಲಲ್ಲ.
There is enough water to do commercial farming in arecanut, palm, coconut and banana, and this without the use of a single pump. And then another revelation. Each part of land is covered by mini sprinklers, which give out as much water as is needed by the plant. This is a big change from the wasteful flooding that most farmers do.
ಯಾವುದಿದ್ರೂ ನಾವು ಡೀಸೆಲ್ ಪಂಪ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಥವಾ ಕರೆಂಟ್ ಮೋಟರ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು ಯಾವಾಗಲೂ ಹಾಕ್ತಾನೆ ಇರಬೇಕು, ಹಣ ಹಾಕ್ತಾನೆ ಇರಬೇಕು. ಇದಕ್ಕಾದ್ರೆ ನಾವು ಒಮ್ಮೆ ಒಂದು ಸುರಂಗ ತೋಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಒಂದು 50 ಮೀಟ್ರ್ ತೋಡಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಈಗಿನ ರೇಟಲ್ಲಿ, ಈಗಿನ ಅಂದರೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಕೂಲಿ ವೇಜಸ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಸುರಂಗಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಒಂದು 10-15 ಸಾವಿರ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಒಮ್ಮೆ. ಅಷ್ಟೇ, ನಾವು ಅಷ್ಟು ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದರೆ ಆಯ್ತಲ್ಲ, ಮತ್ತು ನಮಗೆ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟೇ ಇರೋದಿಲ್ಲ.
The surangas even provide running water to their household. The shower flows with suranga water, the vegetables are grown with suranga water, boiled in suranga water and consumed with a glass of suranga water. Future will show how long these surangas last, because as more and more people swept farming for a city job, and more people opt for bore wells and electric pumps to pull out underground water for irrigation, the art of suranga digging is at a risk of extinction. Shri has crisscrossed the state, looking for inspiring suranga stories to revive this ancient technique. One of his favorite stories is the one of Hilltop Man, as he calls him. Hilltop Man was a former coconut climber who had fallen from a tree and could no longer work. The state gave him a spot of land on top of a hill, but there was no water to drink or to irrigate his fields. All the rainwater from this high gradient would run off quickly, leaving the top parched. People in the village made fun of him, saying that he would probably have to irrigate his fields by urinating. But today, he has proved everyone wrong. This man is my hero. Even though he was not technically trained in his field, he surveyed and mapped the entire land, made common sense guess about where he could divine water, and then set off to dig surangas. Little by little, this one-man army dug out 5 surangas in this hard laterite soil. From this, he grew a large plantation of banana, coconut, palm fruits and vegetables. His family lived off the lush bounty, without having to trek long distances to fetch water like other villages do. He was recently awarded by the state government for pioneering work in agriculture and water conservation. Now the villagers won't laugh anymore.
इथं आपलं मनाडी करतो उंतोडाते बेते जायचं म्हणण्याला साथ देत ite manda tuinaklu on per ite improve the ergiretni I guddena.
So that's a suranga.
Yeah, this one is the suranga.
People just go in it and dig it out. Early in the morning, Sri joined me for a walk.
Do the divining. They have some
I saw how his own backyard was like an open workshop to display traditional harvesting techniques.
during summer the water
In fact, he too had a small suranga.
good vegetable.
Why can you only find surangas in this area?
Yeah, you know, this is possible. It is site specific. It is possible only in this laterite area where the soil is very strong and only in undulating topography like this.
And why is the use of surangas declining actually?
Yeah, because you know, one thing is the skilled laborers are coming down. It is a laborious process. It takes months together and sometimes it may take a couple of years also. And people think, you know, digging a bore well is faster. So whenever mechanized devices are coming, this is expensive for getting it done also. But one thing, it is still prevalent where there is no other source possible, you know, having a water source not possible. Think of a hillock, a hilltop, where digging a well is rather impractical, it will collapse, you won't get easily water. Then most of the people, you know, agriculture, poor agriculture laborers, without spending money from his pocket, during night time, you know, the father and son team can dig 1 feet, tomorrow 2 feet, like that in 2-3 months without spending any money from their pocket, they can get water. And it is a pumpless water comes flowing, you have very pure drinking water.
I am starting to understand how Sri finds all these remarkable water stories. Irkidu is a small village in Dashina Kannada district of Karnataka. At one time, it was blessed with ample water and lush vegetation. This turned into a curse when farmers shifted from traditional crops to commercial plantation of arecanut and setting up electric borewells. Soon the groundwater collapsed. Borewells dried up and many farmers migrated to the city. Settled around a small temple, this village always had a strong community structure. Every week, most families met at the temple, performed puja and discussed common issues. Water had already become a recurring issue. The situation was threatening to ruin not only agriculture, but even water for domestic use was becoming scarce. Inspired by Shipari's workshop, the whole village started looking for solutions to water problems. Following Shri's advice, the villagers did a house-to-house survey to make an informed assessment of the village's real requirements per family and the existing supply. The survey results shocked them. They realized they were on the brink of a disaster.
A surprising picture came after we conducted a survey. Really, in this area of 2000 acres of land, we have 400 borewells. Nearly 25% of borewells were dried up already. This message was given to the village again. This is a picture in our village, and by 3 to 4 or 5 years, still more borewells may go dry. Then our whole agriculture, which is dependent on water, will suffer. So we should be ready to improve the situation.
Shri held 2 more workshops on how to revive the water tank at the temple and also trained people to store rainwater on their rooftops for domestic use. K.M. Krishna Bhatt, a veterinary, became a key catalyst in spreading the campaign. He first changed the systems at his own residence, knowing well that he cannot reach water sense till he does it himself. Harvested water was recycled for general washing, inspiring each devotee to look at nature and its bounties with respect and demonstrating good practices.
The whole community is they realize the crisis that is they are drawing more water than what is naturally being put in. So each house is sensitized, and they are it is not because somebody has told, each one is convinced that something has to be done to put the water in.
More than 20 other houses started catching rain on their rooftops, diverting this to recharge the groundwater. This house of 6 people lives round the year on harvested water, without spending a penny on electric borewell or purchased tank water.
Whole village, maybe 50, 60 or more houses are involved in one type of the rainwater harvesting. So that's why the media has been calling it as a water literate village.
The temple management held photo exhibitions showcasing turnaround stories and awarded rain harvesters. Irkiru is proud to become a spot for news reporters and government officials who troop in to witness its victory over water shortage. Before my visit, Sri wrote to me that water is thicker than blood. At that time, I did not understand what he meant. But after this trip I do. Water is much stronger in relating people to each other than blood ties. A person does not know what they have got until it is gone, and perhaps this is so with water too. Booming populations in bursting cities and haphazard growth have all combined to create a severe water shortage in Bengaluru. Using this city as a petri dish of other Asian cities, who despite traditional hydro advantages today face severe water crisis. I want to search for possible water solutions, and that lands me in front of Vishwanath's residence, who is the main force behind the Rainwater Club. It's an independent water consulting group which focuses on incorporating water harvesting techniques into urban homes and offices.
Rainwater makes use of a naturally replenished source. Rain comes every year, sometimes less, sometimes more. You're entitled to your share of water from the rain. A borewell is actually water which is centuries old. This has been accumulated by our forefathers, and it's necessary for the future generations to make use of it. We are not entitled to all the borewell water. What we are entitled to is just the amount that falls on our head as rain.
Vishwanath's own rooftop is a workshop for testing different water conservation ideas.
Everything's happening on the roof, and this is a very important space. Typically in the city, roofs are otherwise sterile dead zones, just absorbing heat. But you can make it a biologically rich space, harvesting water, reusing water, being productive, giving you rice, food, vegetables, every damn thing that you need.
Rainwater Club's core area of work is to demonstrate that rainwater is the purest form of water, ideal for drinking if one puts the right systems in place.
Let me show you how the rain barrel works. You pick the water from the staircase room, it comes down a rainwater gutter into what's called a first rain separator, like so. And then the water comes into a small filter. It's a plastic filter which keeps the twigs and leaves out.
The main myth that Vishwanath tries to break is that water becomes stale if it is stored for long.
And this water is actually good for drinking because we have tested it in this H2S strip test bottle. This bottle is a very effective test. Once you put water into this bottle, you observe it for 24 hours. And if the bottle is brown, this water is good. There's no bacteria in it. If it's black, then you need to boil it and then consume it. Typically, our rainwater is always brown.
This rainwater can take care of almost all the drinking needs of a family through the year.
This drum gets me 25,000 liters of water every year. It's a huge saving in water. The whole roof gets me about 1 lakh liters of water. That's enough for 300 days for the whole year.
Today, home appliances and gadgets will have to be designed and marketed according to the utility in saving water.
A large percentage of the water used in a house is in washing clothes and taking a bath. A front-loading washing machine is one of the most water-efficient washing machines. You put the water in, this uses about 60 liters for a full load, which makes it about 10 liters per capita per day. Taking a bath is also about 15 liters of water. Both these waters contain soaps and detergents. However, through a simple treatment process, they can be put back to use for growing plants and crops or for flushing the toilet. And I'll show you how. The grey water is collected in a tank, and the water is coming from the washing machine and the bath that one takes. And it's then pumped up into a reed bed system, which consists of 6 drums with the taifa grass in it. The grass takes away the phosphates and the salts from the soaps which are there in the grey water. And then when it comes to the final drum, this water is good enough for the plants to use or for flushing the toilet below. And this water is drawn through a tap in the 5th drum.
Water that falls on this roof is used, reused and recycled again and yet again.
The kitchen water is also not allowed to go waste. It comes into an oil and grease trap where all the vegetable oils and cooking oil is collected and stored. Then the water comes to a filter. It's a sand filter with plants in it. This cleans the water, which is finally collected in a small pond or a collection tank. And an aquarium bubbler is used to oxygenate the water. Fish are kept in the water to keep it free from mosquitoes, as also to indicate the quality of the water. This water is good for using in the garden and for landscaping purposes.
In Vishwanath's rooftop washroom, he demonstrates some futuristic solutions for water scarcity prone areas.
Let me show you a composting toilet which uses very little water. This is crucial because usually flushing consumes the maximum amount of water in a house. About 45 liters per person per day goes in the loo and down the drain into sewage. But a source separating composting toilet, it's also called an ecological sanitation system, does away with all the water requirement. The pan looks a bit different from the traditional pan. It's got two openings, one for the urine and one for the solids. Yeah. This is where the solids go in. Sorry. And this is where the urine is collected. Urine is collected in a barrel and used as a fertilizer. The solids are collected in a drum, composted for 6 to 8 months, and then used also as a fertilizer. And here you have the wash water, which comes from something called a tippy tap, which just gives out about 40 milliliters of water. That's to wash purposes and for the ablution. This wash water goes into the composting box. Every time you use the composting box, you put some leaves on it, or ash, or sawdust, and cover the used material there. This way you save 45 liters per person per day, and your water consumption comes down by 33%. An EcoSan is a good water efficient resource generating device. The EcoSan toilet is not only a resource generating toilet, but also uses minimum amount of water in the tippy tap, about 40 milliliters per use. But even that 40 milliliters of water which is required comes from rainwater harvesting. And that's done in a very simple fashion through the toilet having a rooftop rainwater harvesting system. A rainwater gutter is placed, which then gradually leads to a pipe, and from the pipe it goes into a small rain barrel, a 200-liter rain barrel. Typically this fills up in one rain. You draw the water through a tap into a bucket, and then you take it and fill the tippy tap. All the water required for the EcoSan is coming from rainwater harvesting. Not a drop comes from outside. A resource generating, sustainable toilet system. Let's look at how the EcoSan toilet looks from the bottom. There's a closed shutter door, which if you open, you'll see a barrel which is there for collecting the urine. Whenever the barrel is full, it is taken out, the urine diluted, and applied to plants as a fertilizer. It has excellent NPK properties and plants grow very well. The barrel is then brought back and put in place. There is a box which is for the solids. Whenever the box is full, it's taken out and kept for about 10 days as a pre-composting phase. Another box is kept in its place. Once the pre-composting is done, the material in the box is transferred to a compost heap, and in 8 months, the whole thing is composted and is also excellent fertilizer. With 3 boxes and 1 barrel, you can manage the entire EcoSan system as a nutrient generating toilet.
Vishwanath and his team also help different clients, including individual houses and businesses, to choose the methods best suited to their needs. Here at Wipro, one of the largest IT companies in the world, a small miracle is taking shape on their rooftop.
During rainy season, a lot of water used to just flow out of the campus without being used in the campus when we have a scarcity of water. So what we thought is like using this rainwater in a useful and a better way, because we have so many applications wherein we can use this water. Since the rooftop water is comparatively purer compared to the surface water, we tapped all the downtake pipes from the rooftop to a PVC pipeline which runs all along the drainage and terminates to one of the underground storage sumps here. This pipeline runs across the campus and connects all the towers. and we are metering this whatever the water we pump out, no? So you know the exact consumption, like what is the collection, how much we use for different applications. We created a charging pit here. So the whatever the overflow, it just gets into the charging pit and it charges the ground.
How many people do work here in this complex?
8,000 people.
8,000 people.
Yeah.
So this means 8,000 toilet visits a day.
Yes.
And where does this sewage water goes to?
After treatment, we use it for the landscaping, the treated water, and also we use it for the restroom flushing.
So no water, no sewage water is being discharged?
No, it's a zero discharge campus. So we don't discharge any water outside the campus. Whatever we treat it here, we use it inside.
India as a whole is not parched. It has far more water per head than most other nations. It grows enough to feed itself. Then why are there increasing cases of water rage? On the one hand, businesses are spending huge amounts to purchase water. On the other, there is no mandatory rules on investment in water-saving systems by big corporate firms. Unless there are bold policy decisions by state and central government, will water initiatives by NGOs like Rainwater Club be able to make an impact? What is causing the delay, I wonder?
There's a combination of underinvestment in infrastructure, water lines not reaching the poor, the water itself running out in the cities, plus the groundwater getting polluted and contaminated.
And is there something wrong with the city lifestyle regarding water consumption?
The rich consume too much, the poor don't have any access to water. That's the basic problem in Indian cities. In flats and apartments, the average consumption per capita was 650 liters by rich people, whereas the poor were getting about 20 liters every day.
Take the case of Arjuna Bettahali, a suburban cluster of 120 houses in the vicinity of Bengaluru. This was once a water-sufficient region. Then a holiday resort opened nearby and dug up large bore wells. This plunged the underground water table of the entire area. Traditional livelihood, agriculture and cattle rearing became difficult to sustain. People had to ration water, even for household purposes. Enter Rainwater Club. They decided to use the holiday resort's corporate responsibility funds to find water solutions.
This house is about 400 square feet in roof area. The average rainfall in this part of the world is about 700 millimeters. So about 28,000 liters of water is available for harvesting. This rainwater tank is 2,500 liters in capacity. It costs about 7,000 rupees. And it will harvest all the 28,000 liters of water. The best part about this is that it comes nitrate free and fluoride free.
The most important part of this initiative is that though the majority of the funds come from the holiday resort owners, the local people provide labor and make decisions on where and what infrastructure they need. This fosters better awareness and a sense of ownership in them.
What they do is they provide the labor, they can provide some amount of material, they can take care of the tank. But the cost of the tank is 7,000 rupees. That is clearly unaffordable to a large number of poor villagers. But then again, water is a human right, and quality water at the household, at least for drinking and cooking purpose, should be provided by the state. That responsibility cannot be taken away. And rainwater harvesting provides that water for families.
This family now has enough water to take care of their needs, and also some more as a standby and drier month. Slowly, almost all houses opted for creation of individual water infrastructure. Most women actively campaign for rainwater harvesting because the cost and labor in making and maintaining of the infrastructure pays off for itself.
For sure, like it harvests 28,000 liters of water a year. The tank lasts 25 years easily. It will pay back for itself. But there's a gender divide. Women do the water fetching, women do the work for bringing the water. The men have the money power here. So the men have to decide where to make the investments. And usually they don't prefer these small solutions. That's a problem there.
Vinuta now attends a day school and has time to play with her friends in the evening, all of which she was missing when she had to go for long distance to fetch water every day. She has the science and the logic of the system on her fingertips.
ಒಂದ್ಸತಿ ತೊಟ್ಟಿ ತುಂಬಿದ್ರೆ ಈ ನೀರನ್ನು ಯಾತಕ್ಕೆ ಉಪಯೋಗಿಸಬಹುದು ನಾವು?
ಪಾತ್ರೆ
ಪಾತ್ರೆ ತೊಳೆಯೋಕ್ಕೆ
ಆಮೇಲೆ ದನಿಗೆ ನೀರಿಕ್ಕಕ್ಕೆ ಮೈ ತೊಳೆಯೋಕ್ಕೆ ಆಮೇಲೆ ನಾವು ಸ್ನಾನ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋಕ್ಕೆ ಬಟ್ಟೆ ಒಗೆಯೋಕ್ಕೆ
ಇದಕ್ಕೆಲ್ಲ ಉಪಯೋಗಿಸ್ಬೋದಾ? ಹಾಂ, ಒಂದ್ಸತಿ ತೊಟ್ಟಿ ತುಂಬಿದ್ರೆ ಒಂದು 15 ದಿವಸ ಬರುತ್ತಾ ನೀರು? ಹಾಂ, ಬರುತ್ತಾ? ಮಳೆ ಬಂದಾಗ ತೊಟ್ಟಿ ತುಂಬುತ್ತೆ? ನೀರನ್ನು ಯಾಕೆ ನಾವು ಕಡಿಮೆ ಬಳಸಬೇಕು?
ಅದು ಪರಿಮಿತ ಸಂಪನ್ಮೂಲ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ
ಪರಿಮಿತ ಸಂಪನ್ಮೂಲನಾ? ಮತ್ತೆ ಆ ಪರಿಮಿತ ಸಂಪನ್ಮೂಲ ವೇಸ್ಟ್ ಆಗೋಕೆ ಬಿಡಬೇಡ. ನಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಲ್ಲಿಸ್ಬಿಡು. ತೆಗಿತೀಯ ಅದನ್ನು ಆಚೆಗೆ? ಎಷ್ಟು ತೂಕ ಅದು? ಅಲ್ಲಿಡು. ನೀರು ತೆಗಿಯೋದು ಯಾರ ಕೆಲಸ? ನೀನು ನಿಮ್ಮಮ್ಮ. ಅಂದರೆ ಹುಡುಗಿರ ಕೆಲಸನ ಇದು ನೀರು ತರೋದು? ಹಾಂ, ಯಾಕೆ ಹುಡುಗರು ತರಬಾರ್ದಾ? ತರಬೇಕಾ? ಅವರು ತರಬೇಕಲ್ವಾ? So the question is that if the tank fills up, the major benefit is always to the girl child and to her mother. If rainwater harvest fills this tank, for 15 days they don't have to worry about bringing water from a far off source, and she can concentrate on her studies.
Efficient and careful use of water can happen only when there is a transformation in attitudes. Vishwanath thinks children can be important change makers.
This day and age, I think parents learn from their children. So if the children are taught in schools how to use water wisely, then it's the responsibility of parents to learn from their children to use water wisely.
Students of the Vagdevi Vilas Educational Institution are at the forefront of fighting the water battle.
There are so many places in India which have faced scarcity of water. So now every drop of water which we receive is very, very important, and we all have to join hands to save that. And moreover, rainwater is the most purest form of water.
It's right that you need enough water in Rajasthan because there's scarcity of water there. But then what's the need for rainwater harvesting in Bangalore?
Because the population in Bangalore is also increasing, and also there is an unequal access of water among the different sections of the population. Therefore, you really need a rainwater harvesting system in Bangalore also.
The school's perspective contains a message about rainwater harvesting. Quiz, debates, special classes have made large number of them water literate. Students plant trees, work in a vegetable garden and kettle shed. They oversee the butterfly park, all activities that help to make them eco-aware. K. Arish, the chairman of the institution, made sure that the design and architecture of the school promoted model practices in terms of water harvesting and conservation.
Yeah, we are having two buildings. This building terrace is around 30,000 square foot, and the other building terrace is around 15,000 square foot. The terrace water we have directed through various slopes. The corridor water getting collected in the first floor is diverted through these pipes. So we have put such pipes in each floor. When the water is excess, it will flow into this drain. The coarse dust will get collected here. We will keep cleaning this once in 15 days. The overflow water also gets collected into the 2 lakh litre tank. And whenever there is excess watering to the lawn and other areas, also can get collected in the same drain. We have got two different levels, and the water is sucked at another small pit which is done inside the tank. So even the last 50 litres of water left out also can be used.
A recharging pit was dug to 25 feet depth and filled with consecutive layers of boulders, solid stone, pebbles, sand and gravel. All overflows sink into this.
The entire drain water of the side roads and the main drain, it is collected into this. So whatever can be absorbed by this pit, it is absorbed, and it has been done nearly 4 years back since the inception of this school, because of which probably the entire area underneath has been quite wet and I think the water table here is quite good, because of which when we dug this well last year as an experiment, while digging itself around 10 feet depth, we could see the water. The well is about 20 feet in depth, and I think nearly 3 to 4 feet of water we have.
My visit to India made me realize that most places in India have enough rain, but the problem is that water falls within a few weeks of the year. Whatever India gets as rain is not managed well. And then a clash about how to sort out mounting shortages.
There are two major schools of thought. One is the big school of thought which says let's link all the rivers, let's build large dams, let's build large reservoirs, let's do desalination of seawater, and let's get the solution at that scale. There's another which says let's approach it in a decentralized, community managed fashion. I'd rather weigh the second option first, because here people can be part of the solution. Then we should consider the first option only if it is inevitable and there is no other solution.
Typically, the government promotes big schemes like river linking and large dams. But projects like these at Yenepoa Medical and Dental College demonstrate that small water schemes can sort out issues more effectively. This campus has a staff and student strength of 10,000 people. It is almost 1/3 of the Belgian army. Most medical procedures require heavy use of water. Pulling out this amount from the borewell was not only driving the water table down, but also throwing up huge electricity bills. And when even this did not take care of the demand, water had to be purchased and daily tankers were burning a hole in the institution's finances.
Per day average 25 tankers. That means our one tanker is around 10,000 liters capacity, another second tanker is around 14,000 liters capacity. So each tanker will have 10 trips, 20 trips. It's around approximately 2.5 lakhs liters water we are bringing from outside. Each tanker will cost around minimum 900 rupees.
In all businesses, money saved is money made. Establishments which have high water consumption are now realizing that water can be a starting point for that exercise. The architect of this medical hub decided that the gradient and the slope of land plus the building design will all be geared towards optimal use of water.
It's supposed to be the lowest part of the entire 25 acres of the land. And that is why we decided that this would be the most ideal location to have a pond. So all the natural flow of the water, the surface water, the groundwater, plus the terraces of the building, everything has been brought down to this point, and this is like a collection center.
Earlier we used to get the problems. In this year we have little bit comfortable. We hope that another 2-3 years we will be solve our problem ourselves with this pond.
In fact, big establishments like offices, schools and hospitals are ideal locations for implementing water conservation schemes. This saves large amounts of water in one go.
This is going to be a mandatory thing. I mean, you just imagine if there is no pond like this institute would have to close down. If there is no water, people, how are they going to live? So many 1,200, 1,500 students have to live here. Even if you consider 135 liters, which is a standard laid down, which is a consumption per person for his bathing, WC, washing and so on. You can just imagine the consumption per day. And if there is no, whether you show awareness or not, this is going to be a mandatory. Unless you have sufficient water supply through the corporation, or you have to rely on such kind of things.
The central and state government of India is one of the biggest employers. I feel they must be the first to set up water systems and to push for water reforms. One district panchayat office in Kasaragod township has shown the way. The office has a staff of 100 people and an average of 100 visitors come every day. Earlier, the office depended on a borewell for drinking water and for water used in toilets. There was a constant water shortage. In fact, staff members brought their own water from home and toilets that used to stink. Local officers decided to start a live model to demonstrate good water practices.
This roof area is 20 meter length and 10 meter width. That is 200 m square roof water is collecting here. Then the average rainfall of this is 66,000 millimeter per year. That is about 3 meter of water. Then the total water collected in a season is 600 m cubed of water. Then we are collecting this water from this roof to the drain pipe, that is 110 mm PVC pipe like this, and totally the rainwater fallen into the roof will completely drain to the filter chamber which we constructed along with the rainwater harvesting unit, and then by filtering this water the entire water collected into the sump. From there we are provided a half HP motor pump, electric pump. By using this electric pump we are pumping water to the tank provided in the structure. We can see these two numbers of 5,000 liters each.
This 560 square meter building catches 35,000 millimeters of rain to harvest 1.5 million liters every year. This takes care of all water needs of the office through the year. For me, these are the real water warriors of India.